In this video, we'll dive into the Azion's Edge Functions Storage API, empowering you to seamlessly store and manage data at the edge. The Edge Functions Storage API is an interface that allows access to the edge storage. Through this interface, it's possible to read and write data in the storage and its buckets. Next, we'll embark on a detailed exploration of the API's methods, each designed to perform specific storage operations. From storing and retrieving objects to deleting and listing them, we'll uncover the full potential of these methods. Let's start by listing objects from Azion storage in a pre-existing bucket. To do this, we first need to create an edge function using a JavaScript code. In the Products menu, click on Edge Functions and add a new one. Insert a unique and descriptive name for your function. Click Save. In the Code tab, insert a script to listen for HTTP requests, fetch events. When a request is received, it calls handle request. This function interacts with a storage bucket named 01 bucket, lists its contents, logs the details of each object, and returns a response. If an error occurs during this process, a 500 error response is returned. Next, we need to associate this function with an Edge application. To do so, in the Products menu, navigate to the Build tab and click on Edge Application. Select an existing application to attach your Edge function and list the objects in your bucket. To instantiate this function, navigate to the Instantiating tab. Give the function instance a unique, descriptive name and select the Edge function from the drop-down list. And save the changes. Now, we need to create a specific rule to handle the request and execute our object listing function. Click on the Rules Engine tab and then on the Add Rule button. Name the rule for identification, set conditions to execute the rule in the Criteria section. Add a variable and the comparison operator. For this example, we'll insert the word list in the URI to execute the rule. On Behaviors section, we'll choose to run our function. Click the Save button to save your settings. Finally, open your browser to check the results of our function. Typing the domain URL with the word list at the end will bring the content of our bucket. Now, let's create another Edge function to add a new object to our bucket. Clicking on the Create button, let's give the function a descriptive name, then save it. Now, in the Code tab, insert our sample code to when a request is received. It calls handle request that interacts with a storage bucket named 01 bucket, creates an object with specified data, encodes it, and adds it to the bucket. If successful, it returns a response with OK. If an error occurs, it returns a response with the error message and a 500 status code. Next, let's associate this function with our Edge application. Click on the Edge application and in the Function Instances tab, create a new instance, insert a unique and descriptive name, and attach the function we just created, selecting the function from the drop-down list, then save. In the Rules Engine tab, let's create a new rule to handle the request. Create a unique name for identification. In the Criteria section, set the conditions to execute the rule. For this example, when we type add at the end of the URL, the function will be executed. In the Behavior section, select Run a Function and choose the instance we just created. Click Save to save your rule. Now, let's check the application via browser. As we can see, the function was executed. We can check the result running a query on an API platform. Now we're going to retrieve and return content from the storage. Let's create another Edge function with a unique name. In the Code tab, insert your code. In this example, our code creates a storage instance for a bucket named 01 bucket. Retrieve an object with the key called key from the bucket. Return the content of the retrieved object as the HTTP response. Handle errors by returning a 500 status response with the error message. Let's associate the function with the Edge application. Navigate to the Edge application. Create a new instance for the Edge function. Give the instance a descriptive name. Select the Edge function from the drop-down list and save it. Now, create a rule in the Rules Engine. Navigate to the Rules Engine tab. Click on the Add Rule button. Name the rule for identification. In the Criteria section, set the conditions to execute the rule. In the Behavior section, select Run a Function and choose the instance you just created. Click Save. Opening a web browser, we can check our function, retrieving information from our bucket. Let's check the save method as well. To do this, we'll create a new Edge function to save an object with metadata. This code adds an event listener for fetch events, HTTP requests. Inside the try block, it interacts with the object storage service to save a JSON object with metadata. Define options, including content type and metadata. Save the object in the bucket using storage.put. Return an appropriate response. Handle any errors that occur during the process. To see our new function in action, we'll insert it into our Edge application. We'll create a new instance with a unique and descriptive name, and from the drop-down list, we'll select our function. Next, we'll create a new rule in the Rules engine to handle the request. Click on the Add Rule button. Insert a name for your rule. In the Criteria section, set the conditions to execute the rule. In the Behavior section, select Run a Function and choose the instance we just created. Click Save to save your rule. Now, let's check the application via browser. As we can see, the function was executed. We can check the result running a query on an API platform. And finally, we will create a function to delete a specific object from an object storage bucket when triggered by an HTTP request. In this example, the code defines an Edge function that listens for HTTP requests. When a request is received, it tries to delete an object with a key from a storage bucket named 01bucket, using Azion storage service. If the deletion is successful, it responds with OK. If an error occurs, it responds with the error message and a 500 status code. Returning to our Edge application, we'll call our deletion function by creating an instance for it. We will set a descriptive and unique name and select our function from the drop-down list. Once done, we'll also create a new rule to invoke this instance when the condition is met. Click on the Add Rule button. Insert a name for your rule. In the Criteria section, set the conditions to execute the rule. In the Behavior section, select Run a Function and choose the instance we just created. Click Save to save your rule. Now, let's check the application via browser. As we can see, the function was executed. We also can check the result running a query on an API platform. You're now equipped to harness the power of Edge storage and revolutionize your edge computing endeavors. Remember, this is just the beginning of your Edge storage journey. As you continue to explore and experiment, you'll discover even more ways to leverage Azion's Edge Function Storage API to achieve remarkable results. So, embark on your Edge storage adventure today and unlock a world of possibilities.